Hi, this is Robert from Space Age Consulting, bringing you another review, this time on a Lightdow 2-inch action camera. This is available on Amazon for a pretty decent price. I was looking to do some time-lapse videos, and I saw that the DSLRs are great for it, except they make the shutter noise, and it's a constant reminder for people that it's there. I wanted something a bit smaller, and so I started to look at a mirrorless camera to do it. But the cost of entry for that is relatively high. You're talking at least $600–700 just to get a decent mirrorless camera. So I wanted something small, something that I can take time-lapse with natively, and something that wouldn't cost me a lot of money to start. So I started looking at the GoPro. These action cameras are small, they're concealable. I could easily put them in a corner and take pictures of time-lapse for my clients, different environments where it wouldn't be so noticeable for the customer. As I looked into the GoPro, I decided to look at some of the competitors, some of what we consider knockoffs, and I came across the Lightdow. This camera is available, uses about the same type of attachments as the GoPro, and comes in, like I said, for a fraction of the price. So I decided to buy one and take it through its paces. Now, as a comparison, I borrowed this Hero 3, GoPro Hero 3, from my friends at Sandy Audiovisual here in Maryland. And I took the two cameras to various locations and tried to see what the image quality is like. What makes this one worth its price compared to this one? And would there be really a difference in image quality? Can this Lightdow pass for a GoPro? Now, I only got the GoPro Hero 3, not the Hero 4 or the 3 Plus, but I think they're still comparable, and especially as this price has dropped a little and it's closer to this price range. So let's take a look at what I found. So what I've gone and done is brought the footage that I took from within my car, and I'm using the GoPro Hero 3 compared to the Lightdow or Lightdow. It's Lightdow action camera, and I'm going to compare the two here. I'm going to try to see if you can guess which camera is which. So what I'm going to do is allow the system to run a bit. You see, I'm just driving down the street. That's one camera. Then we're going to highlight the other camera. And you tell me which one you think looks better. This one definitely has a more yellow cast to it. I'm not sure the dynamic range is as great as this one, where it's much more of a blue tint to it. So one camera is coming in warmer than the other. You'll see the difference here as I'm stopped at a stoplight. So which do you feel is a better camera? If you like a bluer camera, you would go with this model. And if you'd like a more hazy look or a much warmer look, you would go with this camera. The colors are not necessarily as vibrant with this camera as with this one, but that, I believe, that has to do with the dynamic range, where you're seeing a much more contrasted look uh, than this camera. You're getting much more blacks in this first camera than in the second, and so you're catching more of the reflection from the dashboard. You're catching more of the haze in the air. It was a very hot and humid day. Um, so you can determine which camera shows better. So we're going to pause it right now, and we're going to do a split screen. So what we're going to do right here is go ahead and mask out half of the top screen, and what that'll allow us to do is show the difference between the two screens. So I'm going to just create a mask on half the screen. The cameras aren't going to line up exactly, but they'll be aligned close enough. and then we'll start again at the beginning and literally show the two cameras right next to each other. And of course, camera 2 is on the lower level, on the lower track, and you'll see that there is a obvious difference in contrast between the two cameras. Now, your preference is going to determine whether you want to edit that right from the very beginning or have the camera with the baked in look. Now, I would say with these action cameras, you're not going to have a lot of room to do edits and color correction. You're not going to you get very highly compressed images. And so, really, what you see is what you get. Sure, you can play around with contrast after the fact, but would you rather have this view directly from the camera or this look directly from the camera? That's really up to you. We're even going to fast forward a bit and show once again this camera is showing a bit more blue. This camera is showing a bit more yellow. So this is a colder look. This camera here on the left is a colder look than the camera on the right. Since I mentioned contrast and color correction, I'm going to see if I can do any color correcting on this image so that I can get image 2 up to image 1. So I've added color correcting to my timeline, the exact track, and then I'm going to try to get the image to match. Now I'm taking down my offset so that on my waveform monitor they're pretty much within the same area. I'm going to adjust the gain, and of course this is you're just playing with it for a little bit so you can get it close, and I can adjust the saturation. What happens is because there's so much more yellow in the image, and it looks like the yellow is in, let's see, there's so much more blue in the first image compared to the yellow in the second. Um, so to correct that, I think I can just add some blue into the mids and the I should have done it in the mids and the gains, not the mids and the low. And then take down the saturation some. And you see there, the image looks a bit closer. I mean, there's still a bit more saturation in the second camera. And for the big reveal, I'm going to let you see that this is the GoPro Hero 3, and this is the Lightdow 2-inch camera. So there is a bit of room to work with in post if you wanted to color correct, if you wanted to change the image around a bit. This is a closer match, um, and it does improve the image a little bit. So as compared to what it used to look like. Once again, that's for you to decide. So now we're doing a comparison with some night shots, and I've set up the camera once again in the car. As I'm driving through, you can see a complete difference in quality. On the left-hand side, you have a relatively clear picture, not very much noise in there. I'm sure if we were to zoom in, you may see some. But on the right-hand side, oh, this picture is almost unusable. Tons of noise. It looks like someone's boosted up the gain to compensate for the dark picture, but they've brought in a tremendous amount of noise, which is what you would expect from this size sensor. And yet, in this camera, you don't have that noise. We're going to fast forward ahead a bit to a place where there were more lights, and honestly, it doesn't get any better. Once again, you have the lamp that passed by gave you a pretty clear picture, and yet on this side, the lights that's glaring off the car gives us this horrible yellow, sickly yellow color, and the amount of noise in here is really embarrassing. And still, with street lamps, I guess in an effort to get more information, they've boosted the gain at nighttime. But unfortunately, it looks terrible. So this is an easy winner here. It's easy to declare who the winner is. And of course, the camera on the left-hand side is the GoPro Hero 3. The camera on the right is the Lightdow 2.0, the 2-inch camera. It doesn't even make sense to ask you what your opinion is. It's pretty obvious that the Lightdow just can't compete in low light. So what's your impression? After what you've seen, the difference in image quality, its poor visibility in low light conditions, what do you think? I'm going to hold on to this because for what I need for the time lapse, I think it'll do rather well. But I will say, the image quality doesn't always compare. It does give you some latitude to work with in color correction, but overall, it doesn't quite stand up to the GoPro. Now, obviously, you'll be paying less, and that might factor in. And this does come with a lot of attachments. It comes with 2 batteries, a myriad of attachments for many different applications, and that increases the value of the product. But if you're looking for something where you're mostly concerned about image quality, especially in low light, I would say you're going to have to pass on this one. Sorry, it just doesn't compare. Now, there are quite a few features on it I did not test. The Wi-Fi is one, and maybe I'll take care of that in another review. But for now, I think I'll hang on to it. Once again, this is Robert Baker, giving special thanks to Sandy Audiovisual for their loaner GoPro, and hope to see you again on another review.